Hello and welcome to another Teacher's Corner. I'm Teacher Kirby, and this episode we're going to be talking about the Constable skill tree. Just a reminder, if you like what you see, click that like and subscribe button, and if you want to be notified when I make a new video, don't forget to ring that bell. Alright, moving right into it, we have the Constable Specialization tree. And so this is a 15-point tree, which means it can only be used as a secondary specialization. Alright, and for our details, while the Constable Specialization is active, your main target will become your antagonist. This vocabulary is kind of important. Because your antagonist, you gain a significant amount of armor pen to shots fired at your antagonist or your primary target. So that means anybody that you have targeted gets that, you get that significant armor penetration to your shots fired to them. Bonus increases by a small amount for each point spent in the specialization. This tops out at 25 armor penetration versus your antagonist. Okay, but it does take 4 seconds to mark that target. So if it's not something that's going to live for 4 seconds, then, there you go. So it must be at least 10 kilometers or less than 10 kilometers away in space. So you cannot mark a target and then fly out of range. Okay, and on the ground it must be less than 35 meters away. So again, it has to be in range in order to count, and you have to have it targeted for 4 seconds before it starts counting. Alright, and the current bonus, space and ground plus 25 armor penetration versus antagonist or your primary target. Alright, so now that we've got how that works, let's take a quick look here at our skills. So again, you have to spend specialization points. All of these are both space and ground skills. Okay, so we have Close the Gap 1. Okay. Close the Gap 1 gives increased momentum speed while facing your antagonist. So while facing, you get either 15% flight speed or 15% run speed, depending on where you are. For Close the Gap 2, that increases to 30%. Confiscate. Your weapons gain a chance to remove buffs from your antagonist. It's a 10% chance to remove the 5 longest duration buffs from your antagonist. Okay. It's a 5% chance for space, 10% chance for ground. Okay. Then we have Eye on the Prize. Decreases the stealth rating of your antagonist. And you get -15 to -120 stealth. And that increases over time. And for Eye on the Prize 2, that doubles to a maximum of 240, which of course increases over time. Okay. Then we have Singular Focus. This gives increased damage resistance rating to damage not from your antagonist. So say you're in a infected space advanced, right? And you're shooting at your antagonist. Your main target is the transformer. One of the transformers, you're shooting it down, and you've got spheres firing at you. You have increased damage resistance to those spheres because they are not your antagonist. So it gives you +30 all damage resistance rating to damage not from your antagonist. If you do not currently have an antagonist, this doesn't apply. Then we have Subdue 1 and 2. You get plus 15% bonus control ability effectiveness versus your antagonist only, and 30% controllability effectiveness versus your antagonist for Subdue 2. Now you may be thinking, oh, this would be really great for gravity wells. And yeah, okay, maybe. But you have to remember, gravity wells pull in a large amount of people or a large amount of targets. This only increases the effectiveness against one target. Okay? So, something to think about there. Then we have Tunnel Vision 1 and 2, and this gives increased control resistance rating to control effects not from your antagonist. Okay? Meaning that if you're fighting two people, say in a PvP, and you're targeting person number 1 and person number 2 throws out a gravity well, you're going to have a bit more resistance to that gravity well. 30 resistance rating on Tunnel Vision 1 and 60 resistance rating on Tunnel Vision 2. Okay, now remember that only applies to things thrown out by targets other than your antagonist, other than your primary target. Alright, Tear Down. This gives you increased damage to your antagonist, and that is 10% bonus all damage versus antagonist. That's actually a very good bonus, but again, it's only on a single target. But if you are a beam overload boat, for example, that may be something for you to consider. Okay, and then we have Crackdown. Okay, to your antagonist. Portion of hit point healing directed at your antagonist instead of given to you. Okay, so to your antagonist, they get 25% of hull healing to antagonist is applied to you instead. Okay, so if your antagonist hits a heal, you get 1/4 of that. You're stealing it from them. Okay, and 25% of hit point healing to antagonists is applied to you instead on ground. So you steal 1/4 of their thing, and then we have Wear Down. Okay, and this just decreases the health regeneration rate of your antagonist up to 80%. And this increases over time. Obviously, so that's actually a pretty good bonus. Then we have Within Reach. Within Reach, your weapons gain a chance to slow your antagonist. Let's see, and this is Within Reach 1. So you get minus 20% turn rate and minus 20% impulse speed for 15 seconds. And this is to your antagonist. For ground, it's minus 20% run speed. And then we have Within Reach 2, you gain a 10% chance for negative 33 1/3 turn rate and impulse speed in space, and run speed on ground. And you get a 20% chance on ground. Okay? So that is pretty much it. Let's see, get specialization, and yes, okay. And when you hit, let me get this. When you hit all 15 points, you get the Arrest Starship trait. And Arrest reduces the cooldowns of your bridge officer abilities when you defeat your current primary target. When defeating your primary target, minus 25% recharge time on bridge officer abilities can occur once every 30 seconds. Okay, so there you go. All right, and that is the Constable skill tree or specialization tree. I hope you learned something, and I will see you next time.